When you are building a React Router app, handling authentication and sessions can get tricky fast. Do you store sessions in a cookie or on a server, maybe in Redis for scale? In this video, I'll show you exactly how to work with cookies and sessions in a React Router app and how to set up different types of session storage like file-based storage and Redis that you can swap in and out with just a simple configuration change. By the end, you'll know how to choose the right session strategy for your application needs.
I am in the Visual Studio Code, and here I have a React Router application that authenticate user using Cognito Auth. And as usual, the code to the GitHub repository of this project will be in the description below. To correlate the authenticated user requests, I'm using sessions, and here in the services folder in the app directory, I have a session.server.ts file, and all we're using here is the cookie session storage. We basically have a type of session data where I have a user, because I'm storing a little bit more information than just a user ID. I'm actually storing also access and refresh tokens. Cookie name is __ session, and it is HTTP only cookie. The root, same site Lex, and I also have a secret right here to encrypt the session, and secure option is basically if you send cookie with HTTPS, right? However, developing locally, I don't have HTTPS. I only send cookie with HTTPS when I'm in production. There are a couple issues with the approach of storing sessions in a cookie. The first is that it is stored in a user browser and you don't really have a control of the user's browser. And the second is that the cookie is a small storage, so you can really store a little bit of information there. So in my case, I can barely store access token and refresh tokens, and obviously the user ID. For example, if I need more information about the user, I do it in auth middleware. So right here, you can see that I'm requesting more information about the user using API client, and I do it from the user info, and then I basically pass it as a user context. However, this is not very efficient because every time you go to the route that is protected by this middleware, for example, in our case, the routes that are protected by this middleware is the dashboard route right here and the admin route. So right here, the middleware is called, and obviously the call is made to that user info endpoint to get the same information over and over again. A better approach is to store this information in the session, right? When user logs in, we can request that information. However, since it's a session cookie, it's not enough space to store that information. So what we need to do is to store the session somewhere else, not in the cookie, maybe in the file system. And we can do that by using file session storage that comes out of the box with the React Router. Let's go ahead and update the code to use file session storage. I'm creating a file session storage, and right here you need to define directory where you're going to be storing the sessions, and obviously the session cookie that will be pointing to the sessions that are going to be stored on the file system. It is also a good idea to add sessions folder to the .gitignore file. Now that we can put more information in the session, we can update our code to request user information when the user logs in. And the way we're going to be doing it is in the auth callback. That's basically where we get the user and we store the user in the session. Let's go ahead and update this code to get additional user information when user logs in. So right here, we're basically using our API client. And then, we set the user into the session. Then we use this session in the API client. We get user information. We update the user with the additional user information. And then we save all this data in the user session. And, user is logged in now. We're redirecting the user to the dashboard. And finally, we can simplify our auth middleware by just simply removing the code that requests user information. We basically check the session if there is a user. If there is no user, we redirect to the root of the application from where a user can log in. But if there is a user, right, we're pass the user context to other route handlers. Now let's go ahead and check if our code works by running npm run dev. But before we do that, if you are learning something new, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more hands-on React and Node.js tutorials. Looks like our application is running on the port 5173. Let's head to the browser. Let's click on the button Get Started. We are going to be redirected to Cognito hosted UI, where we can paste our email and click Next. Let's put the password, click Continue, and now we are prompted with a multi-factor authentication. Let's put the code in, and we are signed in right here. So you can see I'm in a dashboard, and I am also an administrator, so I can visit the admin link and switch back and forth, and basically that's the application, right? And I can also log out. And if you would like to learn how we build this authentication system, please check out my video React App Authentication with Amazon Cognito, MFA, and social login. Let's head back to the Visual Studio Code, and right here on the side you can see we have a sessions folder, and there is a session stored in this folder, and besides the tokens, as you can see, we're also storing more of the user information, and that's where basically the sessions are stored. And since we added this sessions folder to the gitignore, you gotta be careful when you are deploying the application. Every time you're going to be deploying it, the session folder will be cleared, meaning all the users that logged in into your application will be automatically logged out. And to mitigate that, usually what you would do, you would want to have, the symlink to that sessions folder. Basically, you can create some kind of automation, or if you're doing it manually, you just symlink data from a different folder that is outside of the app and stored on your server into this sessions folder. And then the sessions data of the users will stay intact. And even if you deploy your application, they'll still stay logged in. And that's basically it for the file session storage. As you can see, you can implement it very easily in React Router. Basically, everything is out of the box for you. You just have to wire it up. However, file session storage presents several issues, right? If your session is stored on a single instance, but if you have multiple instances, the user may hit the instance that session is not there, and then the user will get logged out. Well, to mitigate this, you have an option to have a sticky session that you can define on your load balancer. However, this is also not a perfect solution because the server that's gonna have the session for that specific user, the requests for that user will be always directed to that server, but there may be an instance when a lot of users end up logging in and saving their session in that server, so you will have kind of unbalanced load on your servers. A better solution for this is actually to have your session storage outside of your server, somewhere in a database, or maybe key value storage like Redis. And Redis is actually a pretty good option. It is fast. It has a TTL. So you can set up TTL so the sessions stored in the Redis store will be deleted automatically and you don't have to clean them up. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to implement Redis session storage. Before we can create Redis session storage, we first need to be able to run Redis on our local machine. And the easiest way to do it is with Docker. So let's go ahead and create a docker compose.yaml file in the root of our project. Let's paste the following code in here. And this code is fairly simple. We have services Redis. We use image Redis 7 Alpine. Container name is my Redis. You can name it whatever you want. Restart unless stopped. And then we map the port 6379. This is a standard Redis port. And finally, we have a volume right here. It's a Redis data, so we define it under volumes as well. And if you would like, you can also enable password. But since I'm doing stuff in the development environment, I'm not going to enable password in Redis. Now, all you have to do is to make sure you have Docker installed and running on your local machine, and then you can run the command docker compose up-d. If you don't have Redis 7 Alpine container on your machine, it will take a little bit to pull it up, but I already have it, so my docker compose just ran fairly fast. Now let's go ahead and create Redis session storage. We will put it in the app data folder, session storage, create Redis session storage.ts file. Let's put the following code in here, and then we can go over this code. So all the way on top, we are going to be importing create session storage, type cookie, and type cookie options from React Router, and then we're going to import create client and Redis client type from Redis. Redis is not installed, so let's go ahead and install it with npm install Redis. Next, we're going to define Redis session storage options interface, where we put cookies and cookies options, and then we're going to put the specific connection options for Redis like host, port, password, prefix, and the database. Next, we're going to pass all these options to Redis create session storage, and the host will be Redis host from the env variables or 27.0.0.1 local host in our case. The port, we're do parse integer again from Redis port env variable, and the default will be default Redis port 6379. We have option for password. However, we're not going to be using password because we're developing locally. Then we're going to have prefix and the database. And the prefix is a good thing to use because you can prefix your session data, for example, and in case you need to delete it from Redis, you can just delete it using prefix. So other data stored in Redis will be untouched. And then also database, we're going to use 0 in our case. Redis has 16 database, 0 to 15. And, when different applications use Redis, they can use different databases. So you can split your Redis logically among your applications. Next, we're going to create a Redis client. So we're going to define the socket with a host and the port. We'll put password and the database. Next, we will connect to Redis and have a catch here in case something goes wrong. We're going to console log error, Redis connection error. Finally, we're going to implement create session storage API of the React router. So all we're basically going to be doing is creating custom session storage. The documentation gives us an example of creating the database session storage. In our case, we're going to be creating Redis session storage. First, we're going to implement create data method. And here we'll define the ID, which will be a random ID. That's going to be our session ID. Key will be ID and prefix. And then the TTL, or time to leave, we will find it from getTTL function. And let's go to the function definitions. And this function is basically a helper function. It uses cookies max age in seconds if available. Otherwise, it falls back to expires date. So the TTL in Redis is basically how long the cookie lives, and when cookie expires, the session in Redis will be cleaned up automatically. Next, we're gonna stringify the session value, and if there is a TTL, we'll use TTL. In case there is no TTL, we'll just store key and the value in Redis. And then we're obviously going to return the ID, which will be our session ID. Read data method is fairly simple. We just take ID, prepend it with a prefix, and get the value from Redis by key. And then if there is value, we JSON parse it or return null if there is no value. Update data method is basically takes ID, data, and optionally expires. Again, we get the key, define the TTL, and the value is JSON stringified data, and we set the key with a TTL if there is TTL, or without TTL if there is no TTL. Finally, delete data method is also pretty simple. It takes an ID, we prepend the ID with a prefix to get the key, and then we just delete data by key in Redis. Finally, let's go and update code in a session.server.cs file. We are going to import create Redis session storage, and then create session storage, and create cookie and the type session storage. The type session data and session flash data stay the same. The cookie options for the most part stays the same, __ session for the name, HTTP only true, max age will be 7 days. The path is root, same site is lax, and secret, we're going to again encrypt the cookie, although we're just going to be sending an ID of the session. Still not a bad idea to encrypt it. And we're going to use HTTPS only when we're in production, but when we're developing locally, we'll be using HTTP. We're going to create session cookie using these cookie options. Next, we're going to be defining session storage. And the trick here is to check the env variable session storage. And if it is Redis, we will be using create Redis session storage. We will pass it host, localhost, or you can do 127.0.0.1, port 6379. Database, we're going to be using 0. And then cookie will be the session cookie that we just defined. And we also will pass session cookie options. And if the session storage is not Redis, right, we're going to be using the file session storage, right? We'll just do create file session storage. We'll define the directory. And again, we'll pass the cookie as a session cookie. So what this code essentially does is dynamically decides which session storage to use based on the environment variable. And this can be helpful because when you're developing locally, you may not have Redis storage available. Then you can just default to the file session storage. Next, we're going to destruct get session, commit session, and destroy session, and we will export them. Now let's go to .env.example file, and here we'll put placeholder for session storage. And in the .env file itself, we will put session storage equals Redis to use Redis as our session storage. And now we can go ahead and run npm run dev to see if our code is working. All right, the application is running on localhost 5173. Let's go to the browser and click on a Get Started button. Again, it redirects us to Cognito hosted UI to log in. This time I'm going to use sign in with Google to make the process a little bit faster. And I got signed in. My Google user is not an admin, so there is no admin link here, but authentication is still working. So if I attempt to go to just the root of the application, it will send me back to the dashboard because I'm logged in. And in order to log out, I'm just going to click the log out. However, let's go ahead and check if Redis has the session stored. So I'm going to switch to Table Plus. And in here, you can see we have a DB0 right here. It's a little bit small, but if I click on it, you can see we have the session and the value for the session. So Redis session storage is working just fine. And as I mentioned before, if you would like not to use Redis, you can just delete session storage from the env variable or assign it a different value, like for example, file instead of Redis. Now let's quickly switch to the browser. We're going to then click on the logout, and we logged out. Now if we check the Redis and do the refresh here, we can see that the data, session data, is no longer in Redis. And that's how you can manage cookies and sessions in your React Router app, from simple cookie storage to flexible file sessions, and finally a scalable Redis setup. With this approach, you can easily switch your session storage depending on your environment or scaling needs, all with just a configuration change. And if you want to take authentication even further with a Cognito MFA and social logins, check out my next video, React App Authentication with Amazon Cognito MFA and social login. I'll see you there.